Are we going into a recession? And if so, what do we do about it? Well, I'm going to share both with you because trends are saying that we very may well be going into a recession. And this could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing. It really depends on you. We're going to dive into that today. Hi, my name is Mike Arce. I'm the CEO of Loudrumor, the #1 organization in the world for helping gyms and fitness studios succeed. And today I wanted to really dive into this because it's been an interest of mine. Over the last few months, I've been meeting with a lot of financial experts, not only because of understanding the economy and the state of the economy, where it's going, but also because we've got a big conference coming up here next weekend, well, at the filming of this video, and it's all around money and the economy. And so I wanted to, obviously get some information for that, but also I learned a lot of really interesting things along the way. So you're going to see me looking over to the left here in a bit, and that's because I'm going to be reading some of my biggest takeaways and notes from the meetings I've had with some of these people that actually make a living off of being able to accurately predict as best as they can the economy, where things are going. Is there a recession? Because their clients depend on them being right as much as possible. And so I've got some really good notes here I'm going to be sharing with you. And then we're going to be sharing also what to do in order to not just survive, but thrive during a recession, because a lot of money's made during the recession. In fact, what I'll share with you right now, these are some of the companies that were born out of the recessions that we've had. The last three recessions we had, the oil embargo recession in the early 80s, MTV, Weather Channel, Adobe, CNN. Then we had in early 2000s a dot-com bubble burst, Wikipedia, Salesforce, LinkedIn, Android, Tesla, JetBlue Airways, Zappos, Shutterfly, Pandora, all founded during this time frame and during the recession. And then the most recent recession, which was the Great Recession, that was the one that was insane. And there was one I started my business through, and it was one of the hardest times of my life for sure. And it was Airbnb, Dropbox, Uber, Slack, Square, Spotify, Venmo, Groupon, WhatsApp, Pinterest, all founded during a recession. So I share that with you for hope that yes, big companies actually are born in recessions. There's a lot of opportunity that comes along with that as well. So we shouldn't be afraid unless we don't do one particular thing, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. But first, I'll share with you some of the notes that I've got here. And these are notes from about 4 to 5 big meetings that I've had that I put together on one doc here that I'm going to be reading off of. There's some really good takeaways, and they're really about trends. So one of them is a slowing economy. So this trend usually determines whether or not we're going into a recession. Usually if the economy is slowing, that can show that, right? So our economy grew at an annual rate of 2.3% in the first quarter of 2023, which is the slowest pace in nearly 2 years. This slowdown is being driven by a number of factors, including rising interest rates, which is really high. Money's expensive right now, the ongoing trade war with China, and a decline in consumer spending. Another trend is rising inflation. So inflation, get this, is at a 40-year high. And this puts pressure on household budgets and, of course, businesses. And it's making it more difficult for businesses to invest and hire, which could lead to slower economic growth. And it makes sense, right? When interest rates are high, I would have more businesses right now if interest rates weren't so high, because money's expensive. And there's an ideology in the investment world, which is OPM, use other people's money whenever you can, because if you can get money, let's say at a 5% interest rate, for example, and instead of using your money to go ahead and build that business, use theirs, and you have your money working where you're getting interest paid to you at a 10% plus rate, well, obviously you're making that difference, which means you're essentially getting money for free as opposed to using it yourself, because then you're not only not making this money that you could be putting to work, but then you're obviously playing with risk. So right now it's causing a lot of businesses to slow down their growth because of the expense to money. Next is a stock market decline. So the stock market has fallen sharply in recent months as investors have become concerned about the possibility of a recession. This decline could further dampen economic activity as businesses become more cautious about investing and hiring, which is true. Next, a decline in home prices. Home prices have started to decline in some parts of the country as rising interest rates have made it more expensive to buy a home. This could lead to a decline in consumer spending as homeowners have less money to spend on other goods and services. So, about a year ago or so, homes were a lot more expensive than they are now. It's gone down a bit. Now, that was also because we had a crazy spike. So really, it's still up over the last like 4 or 5 years. But it's that feeling of, man, my home's going down in value combined with interest rates are high. What that means is a homeowner is going to go, well, not only is it more expensive to buy a home right now because the interest rates really change that mortgage, but on top of that, my home doesn't sell as much as it would have a year ago, which means I have less money to invest in this new home that's costing me more money. So a couple things that are coupling that there. Next, it's also worth noting that the historical trends suggest that recessions are more likely to occur after periods of economic expansion. So right now, our US economy has been expanding for nearly 10 years, which is the longest expansion in history. This also suggests that we may be due for a recession sooner rather than later. Okay, well, so now we heard a few different trends that are, key indicators that this may actually happen. We also heard that a lot of great companies were built during moments like this. And so between that information and the information that we obviously all know, a lot of companies go bankrupt during this time. How do we make sure we're on the right side of the fence? So this, now more than ever, is your chance to really start working on how to build a business the right way. What bothers the hell out of me is when I see companies online that are telling companies that they can do this marketing plan for them and they don't have to do anything. We'll do everything for you. We'll do the marketing for you. We'll do the leads for you. We'll book the appointments. We'll even make the sales for you. And all this sounds great, but the problem is it's a diet pill. You don't actually know how to get in shape. You're just diet pills doing everything for you. And so you walk around feeling really successful because you're in this great shape, or at least it looks like you might be. But in reality, if that diet pill goes away, you know how to get there on your own. It's a false sense of success. And the same thing goes with something like this, because these companies go out of business quickly. And what is your business going to do when the biggest problem is not necessarily a generate new lead problem? Because you'll have people that won't be able to afford memberships as easily as they can today. So we'll have to get a lot better at business as a whole in order to survive. And that takes me to this example, right? I took my kid bowling about 4 months ago, and she's too small to roll this ball down the thing with accuracy. I mean, this thing just goes left and right and left and right. And the reason it goes left and right as opposed to left and in a gutter is because we put the bumpers on. And with the bumpers on, she's able to at least kind of just stay in the middle until she hits some pins. Now, she wasn't getting strikes, but she was hitting some pins, right? And when the economy is good, like it is and like it's been, well, it's like bowling with the bumpers on. You're going to, no matter what, hit something, right? It's very unlikely you're going to end up in the gutter. Now, some crazy enough do, but in reality, you usually hit at least 1 or 2 pins, which is decent, right? Keeps you at least kind of in the game. But she was actually at sometimes rolling the ball down and getting 8, 9 pins, right? I share that with you because when the economy is really good, it's like bowling with the bumpers on. But what happens when the bumpers come off? Now, I was bowling with my daughter. She had bumpers on. I was rolling with the bumpers too because we weren't taking them on and off. We just kind of kept them on. So I was rolling with the bumpers too. But here's the thing. My ball never touched the bumper. It would have been the same whether the bumpers were on or off. Why? Because I've invested enough time in at least learning how to bowl well enough to not have to use the bumpers and be able to get the job done. With business, man, that first recession was tough for me. And I did not know business nearly as well as I do today. I still have a long way to go. Trust me, I feel like I'm still a sophomore in this game. But I was like playing Little League when I was in my first recession, in that 2007 to 2009 recession. So everything that could have gone wrong went wrong for me. And a lot of businesses were going out of business. I made it through the skin of my teeth. But now I've studied business so well, I'm actually very confident. I'm excited to invest in the businesses that might be going out of business because they didn't do their job at a very discounted rate, pennies on the dollar, to be able to expand my portfolio. And so the question I have for you is, how skilled in the game of business did you get so that you can bowl with the bumpers off? Because when the economy goes down, the recession hits, the bumpers are off. And if you know how to bowl, it doesn't matter. You're going to hit pins. And if anything, it's going to be easier because all those people you were playing that were also hitting pins, but they were leveraging the bumpers, they'll find themselves in the gutter, which means the game gets a lot easier with a lot less competition. But if you're that player that was leveraging the bumper, you were leveraging the recession, you didn't study business the way you could have and should have, are you going to be the one in the bumper? I'm sorry, in the gutter. So what I really want to encourage you all to do, because it might be months, it might even be a year or two before this recession really, really hits hard. We never know, it could be weeks. But point is, when the impact hits, are you ready? So between now and then, I encourage you to really study, really read business. Reading books like Built to Last, which focuses on the companies that have been lasting through several recessions. Reading books like Traction, E-Myth, Scaling Up. These are all really good books that help teach the fundamental of business. If you guys aren't part of really great masterminds like our GST 360 program, where that's all we teach, every quarter there's a different focus. Q1 is all about people, leadership, culture development. Q2 is all about sales, marketing, advertising, branding. Q3 is all about money, the economy, where it's going. And then Q4 is all strategy, right? How do we determine what goals we need to set and what are the strategies that we're going to use in order to make sure we achieve them for that following year? So these are examples of systems that are created in order to help educate business owners on becoming bulletproof to where they can succeed during any recession, but if anything, actually grow. Because a lot of them have done such a great job of building up their savings account, their investment account, that when this recession hits and businesses that were using the bumpers start going out and they need to do whatever they can, they just want to get rid of the bills. They don't want to deal with the rent anymore, the payroll anymore, the franchise fees anymore if they're part of a franchise. They just want to get out. They may just give the business away just to not have those bills anymore. As crazy as it is, it's true. I seen it in 2009 and 10. So I hope you guys really took this seriously. I hope you guys found value. Also, if you have any other trends that you feel you want to add, or maybe some insight, I'm also open to assuming that me and my managers, my wealth managers that I talk to might actually not be 100% accurate. Maybe there's things I have to look at. So use that in the comments. If you want to learn more about working with Loudrumor, go to loudrumor.com. And other than that, make sure you subscribe to this channel because we're going to be obviously putting out a lot more episodes as we go. So thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.